the way in which elites behave today in many of these situations. But democracy itself is also something that we can't take for granted any longer. Because there's a lot of recent writing, which I'm sure those of you that are at the institution know a lot more about than I do, but my scattered reading tells me that today is not only war that is a mechanism and a lever to actually achieve the objectives of a plutocracy or an authoritarian ruler or ruling class. Today, we can even talk about a democratic coup, where within the framework of laws, constitutions, and so on, a particular field of people, which might include criminals as well, can take over a state, take over the resources of the state, and utilize those resources for their own ends. And invariably, those ends satisfy particular classes of people. So one of the questions, of course, that is being raised by the Defend the Democracy movement in South Africa itself is, how do you confront these sorts of forces, and how do we ensure that a country is not held ransom by those who want to feed their own pockets and their bank accounts in the Caribbean or in Hong Kong or in some other part of the world, as opposed to ensuring that those resources are actually utilized for the benefit of their own people and for their own development as well. There are others, of course, who for the last 14 years or so have been talking about reimagining capitalism. That capitalism is not, the current mode is not one which is going to produce the kind of equity and social justice that most people want to see in their societies. And one of the things that's lacking, I think, in the South African debate, and that's where we got to criticize academia as well. In the anti-apartheid days, academics were very good at analyzing how apartheid worked, how it actually got to where it got to, what were the forces at play, how did the marginalization of the majority in the South African instance take place. But today, there's a poverty of analysis. And if there is the analysis, there's a poverty in communicating that analysis as to how this system called capitalism is not ensuring inclusive growth. It is not ensuring that there's developments in continents like the African continent, and that there's equity between different nations in the globe as well. So that I hope